In this video, I'll show you exactly how I fixed a complicated company that sells computer system designs to the US military. We built them an all-in-one business system so they can run their business from one place. I'm Drew Brockbank. I built more than 185 business systems that actually work in the real world for clients across the world, from startups and political campaigns to billion-dollar scale-ups and everything in between.
Target market is data center optimization. So there's government contracts, and then commercial is the expansion plan. And with government contracts, we're focused on Air Force primarily. Current team is 9 people, 2 founders, 2 of your kids are part-time interns, and you have 3 employees, so 1 full-time, 2 part-time. Service offering and value prop, PhD-based methodology for optimization of resources and costs for big data systems, large-scale data systems and smaller aircraft systems, model-based system engineering for proprietary tool called Cameo. Core problem is companies spend about 20% over their annual budgets with their data center usage, tens of millions of dollars oftentimes. Your business proposal to them is, we're going to charge you less than your savings with your resource usage there. Service scope is design and consulting only. It's not implementation. You have optimized cloud versus on-premise resource allocation. You do training on methodology. Again, there's no implementation there right now. It is the discovery and design of the system. Current contracts and pipeline, subcontract, $1.8 million 1-year contract. We landed the deal. Congrats on that to both of you. Handles the government contracting red tape, and then you're subbed underneath. 2 additional subcontracts hitting in the next 3 weeks. That was, of course, a couple weeks ago. I guess my question is, did those subcontracts, were you able to land them? How did that go?
Yeah, so just a little clarification.
Please.
We only had 2 total subcontracts. The one with, and then we do have another one with, and that one did land, and that is invoiced kind of at an hourly rate rather than a firm fixed price. So,
okay, gotcha.
Yep. So it's just a total of 2 subcontracts, and we're on contract for both.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
And then going back, just to clarify, just 7 employees total. So that's NI as the owners, our 2 kids, and then 3 employees.
Very helpful. 2 interns, and then you 2. Got it. All right. Perfect. Thanks for the clarification. We appreciate that. It's going to help with notes. Now we're getting into what we discussed last time. So go-to-market strategy. The current approach is reputation, word of mouth from your Air Force experience. The government channels being explored. There's the small business innovation research. They do up to $1.2 million annually for R&D. Standard procurement announcements. There's SBA programs within the government. Commercial expansion, your brother works for so there's some potential contacts there. And then some target companies, I think with your brother, there's some opportunity there as well. Marketing focus, tech conferences and events, papers in journal publications. I think it was in SOCI. That's the most successful venue.
Yep, in COSI is how you,
got
yeah,
it.
INCOSE. Yeah, it's kind of a weird acronym, but that's their thing, I guess.
Yeah, cool. It sounds very Japanese. So INCOSI is that conference that you've had a good experience with. You got SysCon. You mentioned there's mediocre engagement there. It was mentioned that there was an option to rent those booths if the papers are not accepted. So if you don't have your papers accepted and speak, you can still rent a booth and get in front of your ideal customers there.
Right.
We also talked about your ideal customers. 2 main categories. We broke it up into new system design. So those are companies wanting brand new data center / cloud setup, and then current system optimization. So they already have an existing design for their data center usage, and they're needing improvements. We break up kind of our ICP similarly in that respect. So that's what we put as those 2 main categories. Decision makers, talking CTOs and CFOs on the commercial side. And it's really anyone with an online presence that has data systems, cloud, or on-premise. That's what I put on my notes there.
Yep.
And then examples, tech companies like using AWS. I'm assuming Azure as well, or do you guys primarily stick with AWS? Is there?
Yeah, so it's going to be any of the cloud services like AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle is out there as well.
Yeah.
So, the big organizations have difficulty understanding and deciding which one will give them the best value, and
yeah,
they all have different pricing structures. So that's part of the optimizations as well.
is you deciding which of those solutions are best between AWS, Azure, Oracle, etc. You'll do that as well during discovery.
Right. For new systems.
Sure. Yeah. It was on a system that's kind of tricky to get them off.
Right. And once you're in, you're kind of dug in. So
Yeah.
that's
I
difficult.
can imagine system. Okay. All right. Last thing here that we had talked about. You're on a couple apps already, Zoho Project, Zoho Sprints. Your employees are currently logging into Zoho Sprints, which is great. Top priority, extract logged hours and timesheets for payroll processing. That's something we'll go over. Current payroll method is Google Notes, so it just needs to be more streamlined there. We'll talk about that. Assessment form needed for initial data collection before discovery calls. And we talked about your discovery process. Currently, one free 1 hour session, and then you may charge when you get overbooked. But that's one thing we had talked about. So that is an overview of our discussions thus far. Anything you two would like to further clarify with any of those notes?
No, I think that is pretty good. I think maybe second to payroll would be the ability to invoice people, companies, based on our project hours as well, or based on deliverables we've sent. We're now at the point, yesterday we've made our first deliverables to the contract, and we have a way to send them an invoice. It's an Excel spreadsheet, fancied up, but still Excel spreadsheet. I would prefer to do that through Zoho Invoice if possible.
Oh, yeah.
The other subcontract, we bill them at an hourly rate, so we'd like to be able to connect our Zoho Sprints timesheets to the invoice app, however we do that, and then send an invoice for that as well.
Got it. Okay. So invoicing based on time materials and then phases, right? So whatever deliverables are being met, I'm going to be able to bill based on those.
Exactly.
Got it. Just out of curiosity, why use Zoho Sprints over projects?
Honestly, I talked to my employees and kind of showed them both. And from a day-to-day worker level type of activity, they liked the flow of Zoho Sprints better. Honestly, I like the Zoho projects, Gantt chart. I know there's like a Kanban board in there, but it takes a bit of work to have a backlog versus an actual Kanban board. And so I integrated them both and they talk back and forth. So I kind of get both of them at once. And so it's pretty nice.
Yeah, you can integrate both of them together. I was just curious if you guys are married to Agile, like if you guys work through a Scrum methodology, or if there's just something about Zoho Sprints that you guys found compelling. But it sounds like from the day-to-day, Zoho Sprints was the favorite, which is completely fine. I was just curious.
Yeah.
And that does somewhat affect how Zoho Projects integrates with books. We'll make you aware of all that. So it shouldn't be a major issue, but it's just something to be aware. Typically, our clients will just use Zoho Projects, but we'll walk you through what that will all look like for you.
Okay.
So with that, we're going to get through sales today, and I'm hoping we'll get into delivery. We've got a good amount of time here, and we left off with going over your go-to-market strategy. I do want to tie this with a bow before we go over to sales. So what I heard from you guys, and I know I did a recap already, but is there's a couple channels that you might explore, like you've got a connection with your brother. But if we were to focus on one channel for acquiring new clients, it would be speaking at conferences that are relevant to your ideal customer profile in order to have conversations about your service and what you do. And then from there, take the conversation from the event, maybe onto a 1 hour free consultation, and then try to determine the best course of action for engaging with a new client. Would you say that's accurate? If you had to pick one channel, would you say, yes, that's what we'd want to do there?
Yeah, I think that's in my mind, without any data, I think that's the most likely to succeed.
And if you change it later and you say, Drew, we just found Google Ads work better, or we're going to go with YouTube content, whatever it might be, the system is flexible and will support that. The reason I choose one is it makes it so as I'm speaking about the system, it just gives us some consistency on where they're coming from. It helps me kind of put together the customer journey. So let's go with events there. And let's just say I'll use a commercial ideal customer profile here. I'm a CTO or a large tech company, and I'm at this event, and we start to have a discussion, and I like what I'm hearing, but I just don't know enough. So I say, well, let's talk, and we exchange information. What you would do from there is, because I know this process isn't exactly baked in for things that you have done. So I'll kind of give you an idea of what people typically do at a conference. They'll either take, some people will scan at their booth, or they'll have like a spreadsheet of everyone they had a discussion with, or they'll just add a lead right into Zoho CRM. So you've got your leads in Zoho CRM. You had a discussion with this person, and you're like, I need to reach out to them after this conference and book a session. Or if you want to lock it in while you're having that discussion at the conference, you'll say, hey, let's just book it right now. I'll see you on Friday. We'll do it virtually, whatever it might be. From there, where would you take it from there? And if the answer is I don't know, that's okay. But I'm curious, we're kind of inventing this process, so I want to co-create it with you.
Great. Thanks for laying that out. So whether we followed up later or we just booked it right off the bat, so the first meeting would just essentially be a discovery session of, yeah, do you have a new system you're trying to build? Do you have a current system? Are you on-prem versus cloud? What are your goals out of this, right? What are your objectives? Do you want to save cost? Do you want to increase your performance, increase security, right? Or measure security? So there's a whole list of items we could talk about, data retention policies and things like that. And so then figure out what they need. And then once we do, then we can tell them, look, this is the process we would go down. We would do a stakeholder requirements gathering session. We would understand your network in a little bit more detail. We can model that up and start optimizing for these objectives that you have.
And this is all pre-discovery, first hour. Is this within the first hour?
Oh, sorry. We would talk about the discovery a little bit, just high level discovery, summary of what they need, and then discuss what we would do for them in a plan, an overview of the plan of how we would meet their objectives in that hour. We wouldn't actually go do the modeling or anything until we start charging them. That's fairly time intensive.
Sure. Better way to phrase my question, is that discovery, are we saying this is free or is this paid? And I think what you had said last time, correct me if I'm wrong, this is going to be free for the time being until there's an influx of clients where you say, hey, look, we just can't reasonably do this for free for everybody. Is that correct?
Yeah. Okay. So a summary of that first hour is really just a quick discovery of what they need, their pain points, and how we could help them.
Sure. It's like our first free consultation. When you talk about the discovery process, are you trying to move into a paid engagement? You're like, hey, this discovery is going to cost X an hour. Is it going to be free to them? What do you envision?
Yeah. So after that first one, hopefully we gain enough interest. They understand what we can do for them for their given system and their organization. And then after that, we would say, if you're interested, we can write up a proposal for you and understand what you would get out of that. So this is kind of where it's a little fuzzy. One of our subcontractors, we just charge a consulting fee, flat rate per hour. The other one wants a firm fixed price of just come in and design the whole thing for us and give us a bid for the whole thing. To me, that initial engagement session would be trying to figure out what plan would work for them.
Because it's not like what we're doing maybe is a little more standardized, right? It's like we have our ZBlitz package and then our hourlies. You're like, hey, our clients, these are bigger engagements. We're going to engage with them, whatever makes sense. So it might not be standardized. So that discovery is you kind of thinking, okay, what are they going to be willing to pay for? What's going to be the best things we can offer them? Got it. Okay, very helpful. Let's say they choose to move forward and they say, what you guys are saying makes sense to me. You send over the proposal and they say, great, let's work together. You don't have to give me the exact details of what a fake engagement will look like for this fake situation, but generally it's either going to be time and materials or fixed by deliverable, so phased out within the implementation, correct?
Right.
Okay. And any other forms of billing you guys think you lined up fixed by deliverable?
Yeah. So just waiting for you to kind of take those notes.
Yeah. Just give me one more moment.
Yep.
Excellent. Yep. Go for it.
So a couple other methods of payment would be, so this company that my brother knows, we could engage with them. And since they're already a software company, and help other people with their data systems, IT systems, we could go in there and propose to them, we can be another service that they offer their clients. And then that would either be, so that's a third way. A fourth way is also to propose, we will take 10%, 20%, or whatever, 50% of your savings that we save you after we help you and optimize your system. And once it's implemented, then we would have a percentage of that savings. So it's kind of
Like a value engagement.
right. But that one's a little more risky because the payoff waits until they implement.
And you'd want to do a really deep discovery to know if this is a good opportunity for you guys, right? Or performance based. Okay, so performance.
And so there could be some deals in there that we could work out where it's kind of a combination of a lot of those, maybe some hourly fee, and then maybe a smaller percentage of their savings.
Yeah, very helpful.
I'd have to play it by ear and understand everybody.
Sure. Yeah, sure thing. So with that, let's say they move forward with fixed cost phased implementation. I'm going to assume that's probably going to be the middle of the road for what most clients are looking for is tell us what the deliverables are. We'll pay you when certain deliverables are done.
Yep.
You send out an agreement and it lists out the different phases of the engagement and what the fee structure is going to be. And they say, let's move forward with that. They sign the deal. What goes on from there?
So from there, our internal workflow would be decomposing all the tasks that we would have to do in order to finish all those deliverables. We call that a work breakdown structure, but it's also decomposing requirements or whatever you want to call it.
Taking the design and saying, hey, this is the engagement, but these are the action items we have to do in order to meet the deliverables or create the deliverables.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you know Sprint or Agile, it would be, here's our deliverables. We're going to break them up into epics, and then stories, and then tasks. We throw them on the backlog. And so that's nice for sprints. But then in projects, I lay out if it's a large project over a year, I lay out the timelines, and then that's type of sprints. And then hopefully the client would be able to log in, see the progress marching to the right of the Gantt chart in projects and give us a thumbs up as we're delivering. So that's actually what we're doing on the contract right now.
Got it. And like you said, ideally, you're able to, in real time, give access to Zoho projects or Zoho sprints so that your client can see everything in relation to the work on their account, correct?
Right. Yep.
It's like we're doing with you. So once we start development, you can see everything that we're working on, all time logs, everything is accessible. Okay, that makes sense. And you have the work breakdown structure. You add it all into Zoho projects. Are you going to do maybe like recurring calls with them, or do you just get to work and send them updates via email? Tell me more about how you like to handle these projects. What would you envision as ideal?
Yeah, ideally, higher customer engagement is better. We like meeting, once a week or maybe every other week, depending on our schedule. Because even though we've done a discovery session at this point, we start working, we will find things in their system that we didn't anticipate. And therefore, it kind of changes the way we would implement things. And so making sure the client is good with our decisions moving forward and what we've done and getting that feedback regularly, it's kind of part of that agile and Kanban process.
Having an iterative approach, making sure there's client feedback in there so you guys are building something that's solving problems for them and adding value for them.
Exactly.
Got it. Yeah, that certainly makes sense. Anything else with the service delivery that you think is worth mentioning to me? This is a good amount of information, but I'm curious if there's anything that you're like, hey, these are things we envision doing in service delivery that could be helpful.
Yeah. I guess one other form of income or whatever you want to call it, one other service we offer is training as well. And so this goes to, we're offering this for a fixed price set of deliverables, but they also want a training in our methodology. And so we also have a training plan that we've sold them. And so getting into Zoho Learn as the clients, right, to go through this training plan and learn how to do this methodology so that they can possibly keep it up in the future or whatever they want to do with it. That's also very important. That is actually one of our deliverables. So folding in the ability for the clients to not only get to projects, but to get to learn Zoho Learn, and specifically a client portal on Zoho Learn is fairly crucial.
Trainer Central is Zoho's external LMS. Zoho Learn is the internal LMS. So Zoho Learn is where you guys will store your training internally.
Okay.
It doesn't have a client-facing portal that works at scale, or at the very least, it's not what it was designed to do. So there is a feature that you can add a portal and add people to it, but then you pay a per user fee, and I believe that exceeds what Trainer Central costs. Trainer Central has mixed reviews. Some people really like it, some people don't. So you may just want to test it out. I believe Trainer Central now is a part of Zoho. So we can look into your options there. A lot of people will use Teachable as well. So I'll just do some initial research for you during our design.
Okay.
Zoho One was meant to be internal. They kind of bolted on an external facing client portal, but it's not really what it was designed to do.
It feels bolted on, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I got to stand it all up internally and then go to the client portal, custom portal, and then pull it out into the portal.
Yeah.
And login is like only for that custom portal and doesn't speak with anything else. It's pretty clunky in my mind.
Zoho Learn was meant to be where you put your SOPs basically for internal training, build courses. So when you onboard new employees, there's support there. So the next thing here, we'll go over when we read the action plan, we'll give you an idea of your options and we'll make a recommendation for you. But in the meantime, you guys do have some time. I would just get a free trial of Trainer Central and test it out just to see if that's going to meet your requirements. If not, Teachable is one that you may want to evaluate outside of Zoho. It's a little pricier, but it is one of the best solutions for a external learning management system that you're going to put clients through. The only problem is then you have to integrate it. They do have a good API. We've done Teachable integrations before, but those are just some things to be aware of.
Right now, we are only delivering 3 users in their training environment. So part of the training is online learning like this, like Zoho Learn or Trainer Central. But we've also stood up our own on-prem solution that they can log in, do some modeling, do some data analytics and stuff like that inside of a real environment. So linking those two is as easy as just creating a browser link where they can log into the environment. And so honestly, we need to deliver that in the next 3 weeks at the very latest. So I'm going to just jump right into Teachable or Trainer Central to see which one's going to be the easiest for me to load things into and then move on from there.
Sure. Yeah. The options I'd suggest thus far, Zoho Learn would be the least of the 3 options I would recommend. Zoho Trainer Central and then Teachable.
Okay.
So Trainer Central is nice because it's part of the Zoho ecosystem. I believe it's in Zoho One. And then Teachable is kind of the premium solution. We've used that for some of our trainings and we just loved it. It's just expensive. So just be aware of that. It's more expensive than Trainer Central.
Yeah.
You're now working with them. It's a paid engagement. There's different ways that you can, different methods of payment we went over. Time and material, fixed by deliverable, value-based engagements, so based on performance. We talked about how you break this down. So the work breakdown structure, hey, in order to meet these deliverables, what are the epic stories and tasks within that? You throw it in the backlog. We use this iterative approach where you're doing these sprints on a periodic basis, collecting feedback and improving from there. We talked about bringing that into the Zoho Projects Gantt chart and just making this visible to clients, right? A client portal, they can go in and see everything that's relevant to them. Zoho One is working on a unified portal. Zoho right now has 47 different apps on Zoho One, each of them that do have a portal. So Zoho Projects portal and Zoho Books portal, completely separate. Zoho CRM has its own portal. It's a giant mess because then you have to send 4 portal logins to your clients. They're like, don't you have one system? Like, what's going on? So Zoho's creating their Zoho One unified portal. They're actually releasing it this week. So we've been really excited about it. I doubt the first version is going to be amazing. I don't know. I'm going to have to test it. But usually the first version's kind of meh. They get a lot of feedback and improve it from there. So I'll keep you updated. But the reason that's exciting, Zoho Books, Zoho Projects, Zoho Sprints, even maybe bolting on your LMS, something like Trainer Central, If all those portals can wrap up into one, that's going to be something very nice for you guys that you can offer. So
Yeah.
I'll keep you posted.
I did see that, when I'm trying to get things set up, I Google a lot of stuff, and I went in, it was an early release, and I turned my unified portal on.
Oh, great.
And went in there, and the only apps they offer none of the apps they offered were ones I'm using. So,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. And that's the thing. I forgot. They did roll it out to people who signed up with Zoho One after, I think it was October 1st.
right.
So I think
We barely hit that.
So I think you may have hit that, which is cool. What apps, because it's not released to anybody else other than those who've signed up after. I don't want to take too much time, but if you tell me what apps are there, I'd actually love to
For
see
sure,
it.
man.
We're going to do a tutorial on it pretty soon here.
Yeah, let me just log in really quick. Oh, man, and they got this new dashboard, and now I forgot where everything is.
Yeah, we're doing a tutorial on the new facelift as well.
Yeah.
Everything changed.
Let's see.
What are your initial thoughts on the new interface altogether? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
The fact that they just moved everything around is just taking me time to learn. I'm not sure I know it well enough to say I like it or don't. I just barely learned their old interface. Now they changed it. So right now I don't like it, but I don't know its capabilities yet.
Well, they kept that interface for, I think, 3-4 years. So it's funny. As soon as you jumped on, they basically changed everything. There's one thing in there. I'm going to do a tutorial on it, and I'll just send it over to you guys probably. But one thing I really like about it, you can hit Z and space as a hotkey to get like a spotlight search. And then you can just type in the app you want to access. I love that feature. I just hit Z space, type in CRM analytics, and then I just hit enter.
That is nice.
To me, that's what saves the whole design, because I'm like, having a personal folder, then an organization folder, and then a tab per function. I'm like, come on, this is a tab apocalypse. The UI UX is so confusing. But if you can just hit Z in space and search, that's how we think anyways. Most people are search-based navigators. Like, we search first and then kind of figure things out. So that's the saving grace of this whole update.
That is going to save me. That one keyboard shortcut. I got to the portal. So looks like they've added one already. They have books, expense, social, inventory, and billing are the 5 apps that I can add right now to my portal.
It's the most random group of apps for the portal.
Like, why don't they have projects? I feel like that's a
big one. CRM.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and maybe there's some integration I need to do on the back end to make it show up in portal. So I don't know. They are kind of an integration nightmare for being one.
Being Zoho One. Yeah.
For being Zoho One. You got to set up all your own integrations.
Yep. And I joke with my clients, I'm like, from an integration perspective, it's called Zoho One, but you can just assume it's Zoho 47 different apps that you have to put together, because you jump in and you think everything talks to each other. That is not how it works, unfortunately.
Right.
It's very different.
I mean, once you find out where to go to integrate them, it's easier, but it doesn't always make sense how you integrate it.
Yep.
Like which direction it's flowing.
And it's a good critique. I like Zoho, but that is a really good critique on Zoho. Zoho One's just the subscription. It's not a unified platform like they make it seem, which is unfortunate, because they don't assume the usage of all the applications you've added. They don't assume because you have a finance, they kind of assume you're a bigger org a lot of times too, because they use Zoho internally, right? So they built it for themselves and then released it to other people. They don't assume every contact you have in the CRM is going to be a Zoho Books contact. They don't assume that. They're like, you need to decide that. You need to decide if you even want to integrate them together. They want them to be siloed initially, and then you decide, which makes sense. That doesn't really make sense to you, right? As a small business, you're like, it should all be connected. For a larger organization, that would be a huge problem for them to have every lead that comes into the CRM as a billing contact. It would be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So those are the things that for small businesses, they're like, this doesn't make sense. For bigger businesses, it makes a little more sense. But yeah, I digress. We went over service delivery. We talked through sales. This is very helpful. I know the sales bit, there's a little bit of fuzziness. This is completely fine. The reason I kind of press you guys on these processes is I want to see what you've envisioned so far, because I want to pull from that and mix that in with the best practices of Zoho. The system is very flexible though. So if there's things that dramatically change about the way you do sales within the next couple of years, that's okay. It's tweaks and configurations as opposed to building a whole new system, just to give you some reassurance there. As far as service delivery goes, we've gone through the training aspect and then the discovery and design aspect of service delivery. The next piece here would be to get into, and I can show this to you. It might be helpful for you guys to see it. I'm going to kind of show you my little roadmap here of where I'm taking you guys. Okay, this is
Are you talking about your journey, Matt?
No, it's kind of that, but much more. This is kind of a janky way to show this, but that's okay. Should be seeing, this is an Illustrator, unfortunately, but I don't know if I can show you a different way here. So I'm going to show it to you this way.
Yeah, and we're good with janky too. I mean, it's
Yeah,
drawing on Post-it notes or
Yeah.
a whiteboard. It's all good, man.
yeah.
I'm used to that.
No worries. Yeah. Actually, this is kind of where I initially draft things I put in videos. So I'll just show it to you and you'll see it all. And so right here, this is kind of and you should be seeing Adobe Illustrator. Are you guys seeing this? Is popping up for you? Perfect. So you're going to see here, this is kind of on one side, we have the marketing, sales, and service delivery, which we've gone over. Then we get into the people side of the business, which is hiring people, managing people, and training people. And there's a lot less apps on this side than there are here. So this is the part of discovery we want to solve for. But you already mentioned one of your highest priorities is, hey, we've got people we need to send, we got to compensate, right? So how to reach that within Zoho. So I want to now bleed into this side of the business to see what we can do to assist that, if anything. And then again, once we go through all of this, we're going to put it all in the Zoho project and you get to decide what you want to move on. If I make suggestions for using Zoho people for HR and using Zoho Recruit for recruiting, if you don't want to do any of that stuff, that's completely fine. I just want to get an idea of where you're at. So this is kind of the roadmap. We go through this side of the house first, and then we move over and do this side of the house.
Perfect.
And then last thing, I'm just curious. This is like very raw. We're still working on this, but we're going to do a full how to build systems training program so that people can basically go through like our discovery process if they want to. When you guys look at this, are you guys like, that's really confusing? Or are you like, and we still need to set it up properly? But from this raw concept alone, thoughts? I'm just curious.
So from a software development standpoint, I recognize the agile feedback loop immediately, right? The double helix. But it makes sense to me right away, but I'm curious to see what you think because I already have that knowledge and I'm used to that kind of ability. So I don't know what you think.
If you're like, this doesn't make any sense, what's going on here?
Nothing makes sense to me.
Basically, we're just trying to come up with an image so that as we go through the video, we just highlight certain sections of the image instead of, so that there's like a overarching roadmap to start with in the video.
I think one feedback here, and I'm thinking your people and process are kind of the starting points before you go into this double helix. I would just call that out with something slightly brighter, like start here or, parallel roads type of thing, just so that you can draw people's attention to where you start and then they can follow the arrows. But if you don't know where you start, it's kind of hard to understand.
Be disorienting. Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. I think a call out or something to indicate where to start is a good idea. Okay. I didn't want to take too much time from you guys, but I was curious. I'm like, we're actively working on a larger scale training. It's going to be free. It's going to be on YouTube, but we're trying to figure out the best way to visualize the process as a whole. And then the video can break down what might seem kind of confusing here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So with that, we kind of have the sales and marketing delivery. That's called revenue operations on one side of the bow tie. The other side of the bow tie is people. So hiring people, managing people, training people. Is recruiting a priority right now? I know you guys are looking at landing new projects. Or are you like, we have the employees we need? That's not even a focus.
I know it's going to be a focus in the next year.
Okay.
Because in order to win bigger contracts, we need more people, but we can't hire more people till we win projects. So once I need people, man, I will need them quickly because I'm going to have to just pretend like I'm going to have enough people and then I'll have to hire them once the contract is getting near. Right now, I've got half a dozen people I think I would pull over to the business as soon as we start getting more business. So that's good. But backup plan is if they can't, or if the timing's not right for them to leave their current job, I need to just start recruiting people. So that's a lower priority than meeting the current deliverables, paying people, and invoicing, but it's on a roadmap in the next year.
Okay. So kind of what I'll do is, since it's a lower priority, I don't want to move on it yet, but we can set up what I think is worth setting up at this point is Zoho People. Have you guys touched Zoho People? Is that something you've
I have. That was like one of the first ones I tried to set up. And I'll be honest, man, it is rough.
It's overwhelming. Yeah. It's a big app. So it's a potential app for HR if you want. There's other HR platforms out there. We just released a tutorial on it. So it breaks down the app as simply as I can in 15 minutes. So if you guys want to check that out, it's just how to use Zoho People. Drew Brocknick, we released it literally like 2 days ago. So very new tutorial. You guys can look at that to get kind of an overview of what's going on. And then we can actually set that up for you if you'd like. The reason I think that's worth doing, it's just where you're storing employee documents, making sure that all their information's in the system. If they want to take time off, they got to go somewhere to apply for leave. They can even watch that tutorial to know how to do that. Because as I go through sections in the video, I'm like, this is what an administrator is going to care about. If you're going to customize, configure the system, if you're setting it up, you're going to care about this. If you are just an end user, you just work at the company, you're like, I don't need to set this thing up. I just need to apply for leave. This is what you're going to worry about. So that's all in the video. Check that out. Zoho People does connect with Zoho Recruit. So if you make a big recruiting push, you can just tell me, say, Drew, recruiting's down top priority. We can go in and set up Recruit and then integrate it with Zoho People. You guys can do it too, but if you need assistance, we can help. And then from Zoho Recruit, you go into People. And then from Zoho People, there is an internal learning management system. The people typically like to use Zoho Learn with onboarding. If you have a training program for onboarding, and then any SPs. Okay, so Zoho People, I think would be worth setting up. We'll put that in the action plan. It's not a ton of time from us. It's mostly training for you guys, but that training tutorial will do a lot of it.
And we do have our people in there. They have some employee numbers, but I couldn't really figure out how to integrate it well with projects and other stuff to pull those people and the business structure into other apps. It was a little clunky there, but we do have some of it set up. I don't know if it's set up right. Most of this is the reason why we're talking to you now, right? Is to help us get over the finish line.
Yep, of course. And Zoho, honestly, a lot of times could not be more disorienting because of how much it can do. So we want to break down exactly what apps are going to be relevant for this first version. And then we can always bolt things on as other priorities like recruiting, as an example, arise. So we're happy to help with that. So we can assist with that. The other thing is just employee management. So if they're applying for leave or if they have an issue, they're able to throw it in there. Just having that set up right from the get-go. When you start recruiting in a year, you'll just thank yourself because you're not recreating the wheel as the priority arises. So it can be nice to have. So let's kind of assume in a year from now, you have a big recruiting push. We bring everyone into Zoho People. Tell me about training. Is this a priority for you? I imagine there's a lot you want to offload. I know being a small business owner myself, that's a big thing. That was a huge hurdle for me, which is I liked everything done perfect. How do I train people? Tell me where you guys are at in that journey.
Yeah, so we've started setting up Zoho Learn. It's actually fairly easy to use. I like it for internal training as well. Working with government, we have to have people trained up and quote unquote certified with critical controlled, what is it, CUI? Controlled unclassified information.
Okay.
So we have a set of courses where you have to go through, take these trainings, download the certificate and upload them. And then you're certified to handle this government data. So that's very important. Also, the training.
It needs to be in Zoho Learn is what you're saying. That training.
Yes. I put it in there already. It's in there working very well. Yeah.
Perfect.
We also have some user manuals of like that my son has created. Go put some Linux operating system on the server. And as he was learning it, he built a learning article. And then we just keep track of a lot of the things that we're doing, how to back up the system and other things internally. And we've captured that in Zoho Learn currently. So I really like Zoho Learn. It's where I'm also storing the training that I was planning on giving to clients, but we also have to train our employees to understand that same process because that's our moneymaker. And so it's extremely important that we automate training so that it doesn't take away time from us delivering our product as well.
So tell me if you think this is helpful. I found this really helpful. So I've created maybe 1 or 2 SOPs over the last 2.5 years because I just don't have the time to write out every step of what to do, which is a problem because I have to show people what to do all the time. So what I've ended up doing, and we didn't invent this. We took it from a client, asked if we could basically pitch this to our clients. We don't make any money off this. I just think it's helpful. But what I do now is I will record myself doing something. So I'll say, this is how you send an invoice. That's a simple task. I have tasks that are 4 or 5 hours that I've recorded myself doing, or simple things like this is me creating an invoice. And then what I do is I send that video to one of our consultants, maybe it's one of our other consultants. And I say, we have in Zoho Learn a SOP. It's called How to Create an SOP. So it's kind of meta, but they go through the video and then they go through the SOP. And then that How to Create SOP standardizes the creation of every SOP in our system. The reason that's so helpful, I've seen 1,000 SOP training initiatives. More often than not, they never work because people create them in different styles. Some are useful, some are not. There's no standardization. It just gets so messy so fast. So what I suggest to you is you can either take our How to Create SOP standard operating procedure, or you create one yourself. That will immediately solve a bunch of problems for training. And then number 2, as you two are business owner leaders, I would just encourage you to think to yourself, when you're doing something you know should be delegated, record it, because in your mind, you should always be thinking, I'm one recording away from never having to do this again myself. And that's really helped me to offload things. I'm like, someone else should be doing this. But yeah, that's something I wish someone had told me day one. I learned a year and a half in. So that's what I suggest is the best practice for using Zoho Learn. Is that helpful? Does that even make sense as I'm going through that?
For sure, man. I would definitely love to see that. Look at your, your SOP on how to create SOP. That would be great.
Okay, so we'll add that to the system. How to create, yeah, because what a lot of our clients do is I'm like, you can create the first How to Create SOP, Meta SOP, or you can just take ours, like wholesale. We'll just put it in your system. It's a video of me showing exactly how I'm super picky on the way I like them to be built, because some people put every step, and I'm like, you're not supposed to put every step. You're supposed to put in the 20% of the steps that give someone 80% clarity on what to do for the task. That way you don't spend 4 hours making an SOP. And then you're like, the reason I spent 4 hours is I had to write every step. And you're like, I don't want to pay someone that much money to go through and create all those. The way we standardize it are flexible enough so that as the interface changes, things like that, people can just go in and make little edits. And the rule should be every time someone's doing a task, they should go to Zoho Learn first to see if the task exists as an SOP. That way, if there are updates, they can make updates to it. So anyways, all of that is contained in a video. We'll send the video over to you as well. It kind of teaches everybody how Zoho Learn should be used. Excellent. All right, so got all of that. So we have gone through everything: marketing, sales, service delivery. We talked recruiting. It's not a current priority, but from recruiting to HR, and then we've gotten into training. That is the discovery. One of the reasons we were able to get through this very quickly now is you're at the beginning of your business, which is good. You don't want to do this halfway through or in a couple years, and then you have all these messy processes you're trying to change. It makes it much more complicated. So this is great. We're happy to set you up for success. From here, we do have everything we need to get started with design. Is there anything you two feel are worth bringing up that are critical that you want us to have in our notes or have top of mind before we get into the design phase here?
Yeah, I do have a couple workflows that I've just kind of sketched out. It's pretty similar to what you talked about, but I'd like to just hit those really quick. Let me share my screen, and if it's redundant, we'll go through it quickly. If not, then great, we'll have a little bit extra information. I'm just looking for the right slide to share really quick. Perfect. Hopefully you see some production workflow.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So really ugly. Again, this is just Google presentation. And so
yeah, This is
I just
great.
grabbed some blocks and threw them in there. I can zoom in too if you need that.
Yeah, I think we're very much on the same page here, production environment.
So client engagement, right? I feel like we went over in more detail with you, so that's great. I'd like that added. I'd like them to hit the unified client portal, be able to get access to Zoho Project, look at our schedule and status. Zoho Project needs to sync with Zoho Sprints. And of course, backing up, if the client needs help, they'd hit our help desk. And so that is one thing we haven't really talked about,
Just going to mention
because I do want to make sure that if they need help or support, which we're providing as a service, that they use that, and that the help desk tickets flow to Zoho Sprints into our backlog, and our employees over here on the right can start working those in our environment or wherever they need to produce those work products, whether it's a help desk ticket or an actual deliverable. And then we send the invoice and our client pays us as income, and then the whole thing starts again.
Sure. The one part we didn't talk too much was Zoho Desk. We do have a masterclass that goes over Zoho Desk in a lot of depth, but we're happy to provide that training and also set it up so that you can accept tickets. Just so we touch on it a bit here, within Zoho Desk, what channels do you foresee your clients using? Are they going to be emailing you to create tickets? Are they going to be entering the tickets within a portal? How did you initially envision that?
So I've met enough people. They all have different preferences. So I was going to have I do have an email just called support@de. I've hooked that to Zoho Desk. So hopefully it automatically goes to Desk. And I don't know if it'll automatically create a ticket or not, but I want to give them that option, an option to just go in and create a ticket, or to go in and message somebody and get help right away. I'm leaning away from the instant help a little bit, but what I do definitely want is this methodology I help them with. I would like them to be able to go to a help desk and just search up, how do I do something with this methodology, and have it come up and start answering their questions automatically. I
Yeah.
can do that on Google Workspace with Notebook LM and other tools. I don't know if Zoho Zia will do that based on context I give it. I don't know.
You can
But
give it
that
training
would be
docs
helpful.
stuff. Yeah, it's in. So, couple things. As far as having different channels, they can go through a portal, add a ticket, or submit a form to add a ticket / send an email to create a ticket. That's very doable. Ticket management, having a ticket added as an action item in Zoho Sprints, that's doable. If now we're talking self-service, right? So if you have documents on your process or your methodologies, you've explained it, and you want them to be able to self-service, which is great. You really want to do that. So you
Yep.
reduce the number of tickets, right? So that
Exactly.
people can get answers to their own questions. Couple routes you can go. There is a Zoho Desk AI answer bot. It's in the early phases. All this stuff is in its infancy, but that's where you can check that out. It's in Zoho Desk. There's an AI answer bot. You can play around with that. But the other thing is you can turn Zoho Desk into a help center so that people can go to help.consulting.com and they can just see all the help articles. They can submit a form for a ticket within there. So we'll go over the customer portal flow with you too, or the help center flow. And that's where they're going to see all the articles initially.
Moving on from that a little bit, just to make sure we're still on the same page.
Yeah.
The training workflow, right? So we sell them some training, we send them an invoice, they pay us. So actually that's going to go into Zoho Books somewhere, right? And I would like the unified client portal to then enable their username, password, give them access once they have that, and then give them access to either Zoho Learn or this Trainer Central, and access to Zoho Desk based on whether they're paying a subscription fee to stay engaged or they're paying for just 1 year total, that kind of pricing model for this training. And then they get access to the training courses. So that's another workflow that I'm thinking about, but I don't have set up.
And how big of a priority is this training workflow? Because with the volume of clients you have right now, I'm assuming it's not going to be a higher priority, but I'll defer to you.
Right. We only have 3 people taking the training, so we can hand jam this stuff pretty easy. Getting them to log in and having a single sign-on login is kind of important because that reduces work, but At only 3 users, I think it's pretty manageable if we do this manually. So
Okay.
not the highest priority, but probably medium.
Okay. So we'll add that to our action plan. Yeah, the unified portal. What I'm thinking initially for this is it's medium priority, but as you grow, you're going to want it. A lot of this I would suggest doing manually at first. And then once there's a lot of volume and you're doing it repetitively, like a lot, then we can automate a lot of it.
Yep.
But initially, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole without building the initial system first, just so that it actually works from end to end. So that's kind of the way we'll structure our action plan. But this is great. Gives me a great idea at a high level what you're working with. And it falls in line with almost exactly what we have in our notes. So it's perfect.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I completely agree. Let's get the foundational stuff done first. We can do a lot of this manually, and then we can automate it later.
Perfect.
Last one I have here, this is probably the most complex and probably near and dear to heart, is the financial workflow, right? This one is pretty important. We can do some of this manually right now just to keep the lights on, right?
Yeah.
But this is what we've kind of talked about, but summarized in a big picture, right? Over on the right, work being done in sprints and projects. People log their time, right? We do work, log time in sprints. Our timesheets get pulled into Zoho Invoice.
Yep.
We invoice, we get paid, and that goes to Zoho Books as income, right? Also from timesheets, we get Zoho Payroll and cut some paychecks out of the bank account, and those are expenses, right? So these are a lot of the things that I would like Zoho to at least integrate. If these Zoho apps are integrated, then we can grab those and it'll work a little better, right? And then we're talking Zoho expenses from whatever kind of receipts we have. We generate expense reports and either archive the receipts for tax audits later or reimburse employees for whatever expense they incurred. And
Sure.
again, that goes back through Zoho Books.
So have
And
you
then,
touched Zoho Books yet? Just out of
oh.
curiosity. Have you touched Zoho Books yet out of curiosity?
Yeah, so we've integrated our credit cards. We have the credit cards and our bank accounts in there now. We have Zoho Expense, and we're using that, creating expense reports. We've got 2 people approving those, right? We just don't have like the red lines and the green lines.
So timesheets are going over to Zoho Books right now from projects.
They are not. No,
The green line is no as well. Okay.
green line and the red line. Green was like income, red is expense. Those are also things that we have not implemented yet in terms of
You can do that.
how do we integrate it so we can just pull in an invoice and send it to a customer based on time. That would really help us keep track of our books, because right now our books are a mess because we're brand new.
Yeah, all of this can be done. Payroll is where, have you guys accessed payroll yet?
You have?
I've started it, but it's
Not completely set up.
Yeah.
That's okay, and we can walk you through. I just want to see what apps you've delved into. We'll kind of assume none of this has been fully flushed out when we go through it, and if there's things you're like, Drew, we actually did that, you just let us know. We can skip past it.
Perfect.
Very helpful. Let me just take one last screenshot here. I've got this in my notes so that we can refer back to it. So thanks for putting this together. I'm glad you went through this. Yeah, this is all doable. So, all right. Discovery is not meant to cover 100% detail of your organization. We're trying to go by the 80-20 rule there. What's the 20% we can discuss at the beginning to get 80% clarity on what we need to build? And then as we're building, if something comes up and you're like, this is our new highest priority, we just shift with you. That's kind of the advantage of hourly billing, is we can shift priorities with you. So
Right.
you can stay flexible. So with that in mind, anything else that you guys want to throw in for consideration to the action plan before we create it?
So this isn't necessarily the 20%, but it's a pretty high priority with taxes coming up soon or end of year. Just getting our tax prep person. So she's a bookkeeper, and we would like to just give her access to books so she can go in there and actually help us reconcile our books, get us going, get us to a good spot. So if I know that's probably not in that 20% you're talking about, but it's high priority for us in the next month.
So what you're going to want to do, are you guys doing cash-based accounting, or are you going to do accrual?
Dude, we're new. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no worries. Yeah, so since you're a small org, you're probably going to do cash-based accounting. So with that in mind, how it's going to work is you're going to bring your accountant into Zoho Books by emailing Zoho. So they have a email. You just say, hey, this is our accountant's email, and it's free. You don't have to pay an additional license for them. So that's the first thing to know. Cash-based accounting is basically saying our source of truth for the government as far as what we made is coming from our bank account. So if you've hooked up your bank account to Zoho, she doesn't need to go through and create an invoice for every transaction. That's not needed. She just needs to be able to look through all of your transactions. Accrual-based accounting is a more advanced way to do accounting. Most people, when they're small, they do cash-based. When they grow, they do accrual. There's way more behind that. Accrual-based accounting demands that your bank account records match all of your bookkeeping records. Every credit and debit to your bank account needs to show like an expense and an invoice inside of Zoho. I'm assuming you're not going to do accrual-based accounting based on the response, but just keep that in mind. Does that generally make sense? Have you guys heard of this before? Or is this all new?
Yeah. So just tying together our conversation with our tax people, it sounds like they're leaning towards cash-based accounting, the way you described it. They said, look, your receipts are great, but we don't have to match receipts directly with expenses right now.
Yes.
We'll just keep them off to the side for in case we get audited, and we'll just your credit card transactions and bank statements are enough to show expenses and income.
Yes.
And
yeah,
so
because if the government came and audited you next year for this year, and they're like, we know you guys started a business, show us your records. They're not going to look through Zoho Books as your source of truth. They're going to look at your bank. That's what they're going to use because that's the source of truth. Once you get into accrual, that's where everything changes. It's like 10 times more complex. And your bookkeeping system, there's reasons for it. I can't go into now. It's just going to take too long. But your bookkeeping system then becomes your source of truth.
Okay.
So,
that makes sense.
Less stressful. Yeah, it's going to make things a lot less stressful. We do cash-based accounting too. It's way easier. So
yeah, that sounds easier.
Once you start trying to take on funding, if you ever do, you have to do accrual because accrual actually gives a better picture of gives you a better financial picture. So if someone's going to invest in you, you have to do accrual-based accounting. But if you're never going to do that, you don't have to worry about it. And then if you're going to go public, you have to do, it's called GAAP. It's like generally accepted accounting principles. Cash-based accounting does not fit with generally accepted accounting principles. It's a valid way to do accounting, but it doesn't work if you're going to raise capital or go public. So there's a couple other situations, but those are the big ones.
Cool.
As consultancies, we don't usually worry about that stuff. So it's kind of nice. Okay, cool. This has been very, very helpful. Again, if anything comes to mind that you're like, oh, I forgot to mention that to Drew, you can shoot us an email and we can take that into consideration when making the action plan. But we've captured the 20% of critical information that's going to give us 80% clarity to build your system. We already have that. So we have what we needed from the discovery. We were able to move very quickly. Thanks for being organized and detailed in your responses. That really helps during the discovery process. Any questions I can answer from you guys before we wrap up today's meeting?
Good.
Okay, so next steps here will be, we have a meeting booked for next week on the 1st. And we also have one on the 2nd, but what we're going to do, we're going to cancel the one on the 2nd. And the one that we have on the 1st, I'm going to have the action plan ready for you then. From there, if you're like, the action plan looks good, some of this we want to do, some of it we don't, we're going to bring it all into Zoho projects. There's going to be a column for you for priority. You're going to mark your highest priorities, and those are the ones we'll do.
Perfect. Oh, that's great, man.
Excellent. Great to meet with you too. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you next Monday. We'll have the action plan ready.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Hello, hello. How are you two?
Good.
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. How was Thanksgiving? Go well?
It was
Yeah,
good.
it's good.
Yeah,
It's a company party, right? Because your kids work for you. So
that's right.
you get to write
Every
it off.
day's a party.
You get to write off the turkey, right?
We do. We definitely do. We write off pretty much all dinners and
Yeah.
Uh,
It's all company dinners, right? So that's
Yeah.
perfect. Excellent. Well, you're excited to do the action plan read today. I know you've already had a chance to look over it and you mentioned you took notes. So
Yeah.
looking forward to going through that. So we have today, we're lucky to have them.
Good to see you guys again.
you too.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up the action plan. We're going to read through it. As I read through it and notes come up from what you had taken, just read them out and we'll address them as we go. But today's a little different. So instead of asking you a bunch of questions and you being on the hot seat to go through your business, We're on the hot seat. We're going to bring up our action plan. You can ask as many questions as you want. Our goal here is to give you the best idea possible of what we're trying to build before we've built it. Let's say we go through the plan and you guys are like, looks good. We just want to see how long it's going to take. After this, we're going to take the plan. We're going to put it into Zoho projects and say, hey, this is how long each task should take. So that would be the next step from here. So with that, I will share my screen with you and we'll dive right on in. So here is the action plan. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and we're just going to start from the top. Some of these things have nothing to do with what we'll build into Zoho. It's just for context, but I think you guys will appreciate that as we go through it. So starting here, we'll generate leads through tech conferences and events. So that's the primary channel. I asked you guys, hey, look, you had one channel you had to focus on. What would it be? Talk about events. So we can set up Zoho CRM to capture leads from conferences. It's already set up to do that. Really, the action item for you guys is to download Zoho CRM onto your phones. Really simple. Just a mobile app. You guys will be submitting papers to conferences like in SOCI and some other speaking opportunities. You'll rent booth space, and then those published papers and journals also just establish credibility in general to attract new prospects. So that's all pretty much things that you guys need to do. Salesperson, so whoever ends up being at the conference, whether that's or anyone else on your team, you will add conference leads directly into Zoho CRM mobile app during those events. So we can provide that training. There's already a training that we've done on the Zoho CRM mobile app. It's pretty easy to use, but I think could be helpful. So that's something to think about. Anytime we put Brockman Consulting Learn action item, you get to choose if you want us to do it. If you're like, I can learn how to use the mobile app, you can just cross those out once we put it into Zoho projects. Salesperson will send assessment form to leads for data collection before initial discovery. So basically exactly what I did with you guys, right? You filled out a form. I sent you an assessment. It's like 20 questions, getting to know you guys better in your situation. We want to do the same thing for you. I created some preliminary fields here. We do not have to add all of these. It's just to give you an idea of like, based on our discussion, these could be good discovery questions for you to get in an assessment. So I'm going to pause there. Does that make sense? Do you guys, does this assessment action make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I got to hand it to you, man. Those are pretty good questions. And so I didn't have a lot of input into those. Obviously, as we talk to people and get assessments, we may tweak them as we go. But and that's a great start.
Excellent. Yeah, just think of it as a jump start. We'll put these in to get you started. I figured it'd be nice if we put some fields in there instead of saying, hey, there's a blank assessment, go fill it out. And then I know you get busy as a business owner and you're like, I can't get around to it. We'll put these in to start. If you ever want to tweak it, you're more than welcome to. We encourage. Excellent. Next thing here, once someone fills out the assessment, we'll configure Zoho to send the assessment form via email to a lead record. When leads are added, we can configure Zoho to send the assessment to a lead. We'll need to integrate the assessment form with the leads module and then integrate the lead ID. So you add a lead to the Zoho CRM mobile app, there will be a link there, and then you can send that out to your lead for them to fill out. When they fill out their lead or when they fill out their assessment, there's never going to be an issue of duplicates or anything because the ID from the lead will be there. So that's why we want to design it that way. Okay, so that's all before you've met with them for that initial free consultation or free discovery call. Let's say you've scheduled that. You've got it on the calendar. Salesperson will conduct the 1 hour free consultation with qualified leads. So you'll just determine if prospects have new system requirements or if they want to optimize an existing system. You'll identify prospects' primary objectives, cost savings, performance, etc. You'll assess whether the prospect is on-premise, cloud, hybrid. Some of those questions are in the assessment, but there's no guarantee they're going to fill that out. So you'll assess them in that first call. Then you'll create those discovery notes in Granola. Highly recommend you use Granola just like we do. It's a great place to store all of your notes for one client, especially during the sales and discovery process. And then, we just highly recommend that. We can put a field in Zoho CRM for you. We could talk about doing a Granola to Zoho integration. It's a little tricky because Granola doesn't have an open API, but I think for now, just creating a training video on how to use Granola would suffice for you guys. And then as you get more volume of leads, we can talk about automations and things like that.
Yeah.
Salesperson will determine appropriate engagement. So we talked about different ways you can engage clients. Time and material, that's something you're doing now. Fixed deliverables, you have an engagement doing that. Performance-based percentage savings, that's possible. But you're going to make a decision. what's the best way to engage with this client. Then you'll convert the lead to a deal if the prospect is qualified. So after you have that initial consultation, that's where the lead will be converted into a deal / account / contact. We can create a video on exactly how to do that. Just so you know, every time we create a video using Loom, we can create an SOP from it and put it in your system. So you have an up-to-date manual on how to use Zoho inside of Zoho One. So that's the best practice for where to store your SOPs. That's where we put it for our clients. Proposal development and contract signing. At this point, you've determined how to engage, the best way to engage. You've done the discovery sales call. Now it's time to ink a contract with that prospect. So salesperson, one of you most likely, you'll be creating that proposal based on the discovery findings. It will make it so much easier to generate that proposal if you take notes and want to add specifics from those meetings. You will offer fixed price deliverables for most engagements, but it can be time and material or performance based. Someone will send out the contract or the proposal through Zoho CRM. And I'm going to put Zoho CRM, Zoho Sign, just for a little more information there. You'll send that document using mail merge. We'll generate the agreement. It will merge information from their account and deal record to the template. We will add a placeholder for you. With the agreement that you're going to send out, you want to make sure there's sign fields there and there's merge tags. So the merge tags push information from Zoho. So it'll say their first name. It will populate everywhere it needs their account name. Makes it really easy to generate a proposal. And you can customize it too. The sign fields auto-populate. You don't have to drag and drop, which takes forever. So if you want us to do that for you, we're happy to. We do that for a lot of our clients. Best practices on how to send an agreement to a prospect. Next thing is once you send the contract out, we can integrate Zoho CRM with Zoho Books. So invoices will be created from the deals module easily. You may already have something like this set up, but basically we want to make sure from the deal, after you send the agreement and they sign it, you can scroll down on the record, send an invoice from Zoho Books without even leaving Zoho CRM. Okay, so now we're in project delivery. Agreement signed, invoice paid. Obviously, it will depend on how you're going to charge them, but now we're getting into delivery. So you actually serving the client, what does that look like? So you have project delivery management. Project manager will convert deliverables into work breakdown structure. Okay, so they sign an agreement. Let's take those high-level items and break it down into specific action items. And I'm saying, you're going to notice, I'm saying project manager, salesperson, and you're like, yeah, our team's small. We don't have dedicated roles. That's okay. It's just indicating the role responsible so that as you grow, if people grow into those roles, great. But I know a lot of this is going to be like, hey, all of these people are me. That's completely fine. We're aware that you may not have a dedicated project manager here.
No, this is good. I like how you broke it out into different roles so that when we do assign people to it, it's like, go look at all the project manager responsibilities and that's yours. So that's great.
We just want to build the system to scale. So as you guys grow, more likely than not, people specialize over time. We just want you to be able to point to this and say, hey, this is this section. This is your job. That's what we want you guys to be able to do.
Yeah.
Excellent. So with that, project manager will convert deliverables. So you guys are in Zoho Sprints. So we designed a solution to work with Zoho Sprints. I actually like Zoho Sprints a lot too. It doesn't work perfectly for what we do in the way that we do delivery, but I think it works for you guys and you're already using it like I can. So taking the work breakdown structure, you guys will create epic stories and tasks in Zoho Sprints into the backlog based on the deliverables agreed on in the contract. Okay, so I'll let you guys work your magic there. If you'd like us to build a tool to help you with that, great, but I'm going to leave that to you guys initially. And then we will integrate Zoho projects with Zoho CRM. I know you guys already have the integration between Zoho projects and sprints, but essentially when you send out the contract and they pay, you're going to scroll down on the deal and create the invoice. From there, you'll just scroll down and create the project. When you create the project in Zoho CRM, you just need to put add project to Zoho Sprints. That's going to be important. You're going to find out in just a moment why that's critical. So you'll be able to set up Gantt charts and Zoho projects for timeline visibility based on Zoho Sprint items. So you can go to projects and show Gantt chart, or you create a report in Zoho Sprints. It's whatever works best for you to present to the client what the timeline is going to look like. Project Manager will provide client access to Unified Client Portal. Zoho One has a new Unified Client Portal. It's not really a unified portal, to be honest. It's really a launch pad into individual portals, which sucks, but That's what we
Yeah.
got. So it's a little nicer, I guess, as a client, because you go to one portal to jump to individual portals, but it's pretty much the same thing. So no,
What about username and passwords? Has it unified those at least?
I
Or
believe so.
okay, that's
so.
good.
Yeah. So that does make it a little more convenient, right? Because you're going to one
Yeah.
place to then jump to the other portals. So that part's nice.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, you should be fine to do that. So, and then as I say anything here, feel free to pause me and ask any questions. Happy to help with anything you guys have or any comments that you guys have. Happy to address anything you might want clarity on. So right here, project manager will provide client access to unified portal. We'll integrate projects with books to enable billing from Zoho projects and sprints. So the way that it will work is Zoho Projects has the tightest integration with Zoho Books, and then Zoho Sprints integrates with Zoho Projects. That might sound kind of crazy, but I think it'll work just fine for you guys.
Yeah.
Once it's set up, it's a more set up and forget thing. Set and forget. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed some quirks just with the integration between projects and sprints already. If I find any more, I might be convinced pretty easily to just say we're all doing projects, modify projects in the little Kanban board so that we have a backlog and other things, because otherwise, man, some of the hours don't flow both ways when we log time on tasks. It doesn't always flow from projects to sprints. If people add tasks and forget to add them in Zoho sprints, then they're lost.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, and
I'm on the edge of just going fully to projects, but I'll probably try it out first in projects to see if it's going to work.
Well, the nice thing is the way we'll build this is if you abandon using Zoho Sprints, we won't really have to change anything because it's syncing with projects. Using projects is like the source of truth. So yeah, if you end up rolling that back, we know it's a win in and of itself to be in an app using it. So we try not to rip people out of things they've adopted unless it's necessary. So yes, excellent. Okay, so here there's a way that we're going to sync Zoho projects with Zoho Sprints. Added an article there if you wanted to check out kind of the specifics there. But we will create a training video on how to bill hours from Zoho projects, Zoho books, and we'll send this over to you. And you can distribute it to the rest of your team if you'd like.
Perfect.
But essentially, we're just going to say, hey, in Zoho projects, you can upload timesheets over a period of time, create an invoice. And the nice thing is, for your clients, if you want to create the invoice and show every single action item that they're being billed for, you can, if you want to. Most people like a roll-up summary, and that works too.
Yeah.
Do all that.
So a question there.
Please.
So we, obviously we went and looked at all the different apps. There's like Zoho Invoice and Zoho Payroll and all these things.
Yep.
And you're pretty much hitting Zoho Books. Is that what is Zoho Books kind of the source of truth like Zoho Projects is, and it's best to just use books for all of this? Is that why you're doing it?
Yes. So short answer, yes. There's multiple suites in Zoho. So you have the finance suite, you have the sales suite, the marketing suite, service suite. Each one of those has like their own CRM juggernaut that does pretty much everything. And then there's like peripheral applications that do something. So Zoho Invoice, it's like a very watered down version of Zoho Books. Zoho Biggin, a very watered down version of Zoho CRM. Basically, Zoho Biggin is Zoho's apology for Zoho CRM being so robust and can be complicated to use. Zoho Invoice is their apology for Zoho Books being so robust and so many places to click. So even though it can be a little more difficult to adopt Zoho CRM and Zoho Books, it's better to adopt those and bite the bullet than to go into Zoho Invoice, use it for all it's worth, outgrow it, and then have to migrate, because that's way more painful. Yeah, so we've done it enough times where some people are like, we want to use Big and it's more simple. And then we just give in and we're like, okay. And then they outgrow it in like 3 months. We're like, now we have to migrate you to a completely different platform and you have to relearn everything. And they're like, why didn't we just bite the bullet initially? So
I feel that way possibly about the projects and sprints, honestly.
yeah. And sprints does make sense for what you're doing. That's the thing. You have a stronger argument for that, because if you want to keep your team in agile, Zoho Sprints is supporting an agile methodology, whereas Zoho Projects just doesn't. It doesn't have a start your sprint. It doesn't have a dedicated backlog. You can kind of remake those things, but it doesn't have it out of the box. It's just different. So You guys, yeah, if you're feeling that with Zoho Sprints, we have some people who get in it and they love it, but you have some integration requirements that you can make a good argument for just moving into projects. You guys have some flexibility there, which is nice. You don't have to make the decision right now in order for us to build, because the integration will sync is really based on Zoho projects with the integration with Zoho Sprints, which is nice for you guys.
Perfect.
Excellent. So we'll provide training on how to send client invites to the Zoho Projects/Sprints client portal. It will be a Zoho Projects portal with Zoho Sprints information in it. Just keep that in mind. So client will view project progress through Zoho Projects portal. Clients will access timesheets and status updates in real time. So that's kind of the value you can bring to them. Hey, look, you can jump in this anytime. How do we know this? Well, we do this for you guys. So exact way that you see your action items with us, your clients will be able to see through your portal. So the unified portal should include books, but it doesn't have projects yet. So we're waiting on the unified portal to release projects. Until then, Zoho Projects, I think we can enable the finance tab on the Zoho Projects portal, just so you're aware. So you may be able to get away with just Zoho Projects portal for your clients and they don't have to access anything else.
Now, some clients would rather not show them hours. Can we tweak that depending on different permissions based on clients?
You're exactly right. And then you could have 20 client users in one project. 19 of them can see just the task. And then the last one can see everything, like all time logs, everything.
Perfect.
For example, we give you guys view all, so you can see pretty much everything we can see, except for a couple things. But yeah, you pretty much have unrestricted access to your project for viewership, but you can change that. And we can put a note in there to show you how to do that. So excellent. Yeah. User permission. Let's prevent payroll. Let's certainly do that for you. Not a problem. Okay, project manager will conduct weekly client meetings for iterative feedback. Project manager will update project status based on client feedback. And then you guys will log time into Zoho Sprints for accurate billing. Just know if you change that from Zoho Sprints to Zoho Projects, it's not going to be an issue at all. Okay, so that we got through the main parts of actually managing the project. Let's talk about support and help desk. Then we'll get to the dashboard, some training, and then we got some miscellaneous items, and then we'll talk about how long this will take for us to build out for you.
Awesome.
So support and help desk management. Customer support will manage client tickets through multiple channels. So you guys got your email at yourdomain.com. They will submit tickets through the portal as well. And then we can automatically create tickets from email submissions too. So a support person will route help desk tickets to Zoho Sprints backlog for action items. Again, if we get to this item and by the time we get to this item, you're like, you know what, we're going to go with projects. We can swap that. Just as a heads up, we take almost every single action plan from top to bottom, unless you reprioritize it. So when we put this into Zoho Projects for your review, it'll have each item we talked about and then how many hours we estimate that it will take. And if you're like, we want to do help desk first, you can drag those items at the top and that's where we'll start. So if you ask us to guide it, we're going to start from the top to bottom because that's an order of the customer journey. Solving upstream problems automatically solves downstream problems. So that's why we start from the top as well.
Okay. Yeah, that was one question I had. There are a couple higher priority topics lower down. I wasn't sure if we needed to get users and clients into CRM first so that then we could pull them into like help desk and all these other things. So I'm definitely aware of the timing of that kind of work.
You get to prioritize it ultimately. And if you change help desk to the top, it's not going to ruin everything. So if you're like, hey, this is the most important thing, we want to work in order of your priorities. So yeah, okay. Feel free to, once you get into the portal, you're going to be able to drag all the items wherever you want it to go.
Perfect.
Yep. Right. And we encourage that. We're like, hey, we don't want to be working on things that you're like, I wish this was done yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it's like in the backlog for 2 months from now. And you're like, I want to do this now. You can just move it up.
Perfect.
Customer support person will manage client tickets. Talk about that. Support person will route help desk tickets to Zoho Sprints backlog. Again, that can be projects. We'll configure the integration where those tasks push over. And then it's just a one-way integration back. So from Zoho Projects, as tasks are updated, it will reflect in Zoho Desk. If you ever want to give your clients access to Zoho Desk so they can see all their tickets, great. But ultimately, they're going to be able to see it from projects anyways because it will integrate. So you'll just keep it one portal.
Gotcha.
Okay, support person will maintain help center with methodology documentation. Support person will create self-service articles to reduce ticket volume. The idea behind Help Center is as you build a base of knowledge in Zoho Desk, you can publish it. So people can go to Help Center, get the help for the things that they need without having to submit a ticket at all, which is great because then you don't have to use as many resources. There's also a Zoho Desk AI answer bot that can look through all of your Help Center articles and answer questions for your clients automatically. It's okay. It's not amazing, but it's a great place to start.
Okay.
Next thing here is setting up an executive dashboard. So this is from old Zblitz. It's essentially a way to show you how things are flowing through your system in order of your customer journey. So this is something our clients like is instead of going to each app individually for their app specific dashboard, we can use Zoho Analytics to bring all the relevant information you want into one dashboard. This is usually what we see as the starting dashboard, but you can configure it to look however you want, whatever reports you want. So we're just letting you know, hey, we build these all the time. If you want us to build it for you, great. If not, we can focus on whatever is your highest priority items.
Yep. Copy that.
Training and delivery. So as far as training is concerned, training coordinator will deliver client training through the LMS platform. You guys will provide on-premise system access for hands-on learning. Training must be delivered within 3 weeks for your current contract. Training coordinator will manage client access to training portal. I mentioned Zoho's Trainer Central. That's the LMS platform they have acquired. I think they acquired Trainer Central versus Teachable, which we've used and integrated with Zoho. That's an external LMS to Zoho. Training
I
coordinator.
did look at those. It seems like Trainer Central, the free version that you get with Zoho One is mediocre. It's got a lot of restrictions. So we would definitely have to buy that for, I don't know what it was. It was like $40 a month per person or something like that. It seemed pretty expensive. I did manage to get the Zoho Learn client portal working. I've tested it out with my own like personal email and it works pretty good, but it does need its own username password. It doesn't sync with anything else.
Well, and I think you have to start after 3 users, just so you're aware with Zoho Learn. I think you need to purchase additional user licenses as a heads up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For client licenses, you mean?
Yes, for external
Okay.
licenses. Yeah. So be aware of that. It's free up to like 3, I think.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
At this point, we're so close to the deadline and
It's
it's going to work. I'm going to just push that out as an MVP,
Sure.
get people started. We only need 3 clients using it right now anyways. So,
Oh, there you go. Well, yeah, if you can get away with not paying
Yeah.
per go at it, that's even better.
and then we'll kind of reattack and figure out what's better long-term to
Sure.
move our stuff to. So,
No, I think that totally makes sense.
okay.
Excellent. Training coordinator will track client training. And I'll just put a note here. Note will learn external users as first. Perfect. Okay, so training coordinator will track client training progress and certifications. That would be you at this time, most likely. You'll manage the controlled unclassified information certification requirements. Government contracts require specific certifications for data handling. Before someone can touch the data, you got to go through some training. Invoicing and financial management. Accounting person will generate invoices from timesheet data. We'll integrate sprints/projects into Zoho Books so that you can take timesheets, invoice them, and it will show in projects that they've already been invoiced. So you don't have to wonder, hey, which of these timesheets have been invoiced? You'll be able to see it right within Zoho projects. Accounting person will invoice clients based on time and materials or fixed deliverables. You can also create a project based on that. So it can be fixed, it can be time materials, pretty much any way you can bill. You can set up a project to bill that way.
Is there training that you guys already have for essentially doing what you're talking about there? Is the accounting person taking either hours or deliverables from projects and building invoices?
No.
Definitely would like to have some training there for everybody that needs to do that, all the accounting people.
Sure. Yeah, so we can create it for you. We don't have a Zoho projects tutorial, but it doesn't go over that specifically because that is more of a niche requirement. We find a lot of people need it, but most people using Zoho projects, most people using Zoho actually use QuickBooks, interestingly enough. They could have, you guys, most people start fresh, they use Zoho Books. But if someone already had a system, they usually don't want to migrate their whole bookkeeping system. So that's fine. So we will create it for you.
So what is your recommendation? I'm not 100% bought in for Zoho Books.
Yeah.
Obviously, QuickBooks is standard around the business, right? Do you guys have any recommendations there between Books and QuickBooks?
If you're starting from scratch, use Zoho Books because you can do things like here. When you're in the Zoho ecosystem, being able to go from a project and bill timesheets right in or invoice timesheets right into Zoho Books, that would be a crazy project for QuickBooks. It would take a lot more time. We'd have to do a creator app. There would be way more custom dev.
Yeah.
So if you're starting from scratch and you can do it all in one system, you are able to set up a system that most of our clients that have QuickBooks wish they would have. A lot of people we work with that are on QuickBooks, they want to move to Zoho Books, but they're not going to because it's such a pain to switch off the end of their fiscal year. So many employees that know how to use QuickBooks, they don't know how to use Zoho Books yet. So yeah, Zoho Books is a great solution. Most people QuickBooks won the game of getting people started on that, and it's really hard to migrate off.
Okay. No, that's good feedback. That's
And by the way,
the same conclusion I came to.
And by the way, I have no problem suggesting an app that's better than Zoho. So I'm like, if something's better for your use case, I'll just say use HubSpot for that. We don't need you to use every app in order for us to have business. I don't mind at all telling you if there's another app that's better. So yeah, you can always ask me those questions. Just because I'm a Zoho partner, it doesn't mean I'm diehard Zoho for every app. There's apps like I use Calendly, not Zoho Bookings. I use Webflow. I don't use Zoho Sites. There's plenty of apps that I'm like, Zoho isn't good at that, so I'm not going to use it.
Yep.
So, yep. Excellent. So yeah, we'll create training on how to do this and send it over and add it to Zoho Learn and send training to client team. We can certainly do that.
Perfect.
Any person will process client payments in Zoho Books. Zoho will automatically update deal stages when payments are received. We don't want to do invoice stages when payments are received. Yeah, that's going to make more sense. Accounting person will track income from multiple contract types. Perfect. CRM stage configuration. So these are the stages we recommend. When we think stages, there's Kanban views in the leads module and the deals module. That's what I want you to envision. This is every column. So you have marketing ready, sales ready, projected, recycle. This is everything before the first meeting. After the first meeting, they were either converted or marked recycled. This will be nice because then in the future, if you ever want to market to those people that you met with, but they weren't ready at that time, it'll already be ready to go, which is nice. So if you want to send them emails and texts and stuff like that, it'll be set up for that. Deal stages, discovery phase, proposal, closed won, closed lost. Can we add more? Yes. But this is a good starting place for the Kanban view. You can always add more stages if we need to. The sweet spot is 4 to 7 stages per Kanban view. Anything more than that is overwhelming. Anything less than that, kind of just don't know where they're at. So that's what I stick with 4. Additional requirements, HR and employee management. So I just sent this over. Maybe I'll share this with you guys. This is what I was trying to show you guys on the last call, and it took me like forever to pull it up. Let me show it to you right now. Just give me one moment. Okay. All right. Yeah. So basically, you can prioritize which side of the business you want to focus on. But there's apps that go along with the customer side of business, which is marketing, sales, service. But in order to provide a service, typically we need people or employees. And so we got the employee side of the business here, hiring, managing, and training. So we just talked about this side of the business, the customer side. Now we're going to get into the employee side. So now we'll get into what it looks like to use the apps for the people side. So if you tell us, Drew, we want to focus on, if we want to do service first, then HR, then marketing, great. You can reprioritize it, but typically we'll take it from customers and then we'll take it to employees. So, all right, with that, back to the action plan, HR and employee management. So HR person will manage employee information in Zoho People. So you already have employees. Let's make sure we get all of their information into one place within Zoho People. And then you can connect Zoho People with Zoho projects as well. Talk a little bit more about how that works with payroll. So employees will submit leave requests through Zoho People. They'll have their own portal access where they can see their own information. The current team includes 2 founders, 2 part-time interns, 3 full-time employees, 2 part-time. All of their information should be in Zoho People, so you can keep track of all of it. Payroll and time tracking. So payroll admin will process employee compensation from timesheet data. We'll integrate Zoho projects with Zoho People, and then Zoho People with Zoho Payroll. I wish there was a direct Zoho projects to Zoho Payroll integration. There's not. So that's unfortunately the way it has to be set up, but I'm confident it's going to work for you. It needs to be set up right, or you're going to be setting it up over and over again. So
this is why we are asking you guys to help.
Yep.
And then,
yeah, just so you know, that frustration and hate it exists everywhere. We have people who hate HubSpot, who hate Salesforce, who hate Zoho. And we're just like, look, eventually you just have to bite a bullet and learn a platform. And it's so much easier to have someone who set it up 100+ times, set it up right, than to hate your life and have to set up the same system over and over because you never set it up correctly. So I think you're wise in doing that. It honestly pays for itself in the sanity that you save. So, and even the discovery, I think, kind of pays for itself with the time it saves us for execution. So with that, payroll here. Zoho projects integrated with payroll through Zoho People. Employees will log time in Zoho sprints for Zoho projects, as you know, and then all that information will port over to Zoho People. This is your highest priority requirement. That's what you mentioned during our discoveries. This is the big thing. So we can focus on that first if you want us to. We're happy to do that. Talk about expense management. And if you do, just let me know. I can actually, right now, I can put this at the top of the list if that is your biggest item.
Yeah, it is. And then in addition to that, I do have a note just to make sure we have at least some beginning training on how, after you set up the integration, how somebody would go about actually pulling time spent on tasks into people and then into payroll. Just a training for our payroll HR person would be great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We've already got some training we could send you on people. But yeah, we can specifically show you at people the payroll connection and how to run payroll and do that.
That'd be perfect.
I'm excited to build this out and then have in Zoho Learn how to do this. It'll just be step by step. It's going to feel very clean.
Otherwise, I got to go figure it out. And I may figure it out right or not. And I'll make training. And that takes a lot longer and a lot more of my time where I could better spend it elsewhere. So I would much rather have you guys produce some good training right off the bat. So that's great, man.
We will. In the past, we're really big on this because we've built so many systems that people have a hard time using. So we're like, training is actually way more important. So this last year, we've come up with a lot more tactics and strategies for training that I think you guys are going to really benefit from. So we're excited to do that for you. So we'll create a training on how to payroll from Zoho projects and sheets. So we can certainly do that. Again, I'm ordering this. If you're like, it's not our highest priority. Once it's in projects, fair game. You can change that if you want. The tax preparation and bookkeeping. That's where we landed. No, expense management. Any expenses, you can log that through Zoho Books. Zoho will integrate approved expenses with Zoho Books for financial reporting. Credit card and bank accounts are already connected in Zoho. I know you guys already went in there and did that, which is great. Tax prep and bookkeeping. Bookkeeper will access Zoho Books. Just so you guys know, you can get someone in there for free. You don't need an additional license. Just send an email to Zoho. They'll add your bookkeeper. They'll reconcile bank transactions for cash-based accounting. There's really not a lot of reconciliation that needs to go on there, to be honest. Reconciliation is saying, this is what happens in our bank. Is it in Zoho Books? You don't actually need to reconcile if you're doing cash-based accounting. You guys are small. You're going to be doing cash-based accounting. But as you grow, you want your bookkeeper to have access to do reconciliation. If you want more information on that, I go super in depth on it. I had a Zoho Books masterclass that I just did. Let's see if it's popping up on Google yet. If you go to this video, Zoho Books full tutorial, this will go super in depth on everything Zoho Books. If you ever want to, we'll set it up so it's capable. But if you ever want to get the full training or send it to your bookkeeper or accountant, that is the best way to go. Watch that video.
Yeah, that's great. So I think the biggest thing, even if we don't need to reconcile them, is just ensuring that we're categorizing all the expenses properly for our tax people. They're really big on making sure everything's categorized correctly for taxes because there are certain thresholds that you don't want to go over for different categories.
For sure. Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at this point.
Sweet. Yep.
And we have created a lot of those categories or different accounts that we charge all these things to and some rules that go along with it.
Yeah. No, this is good. Yeah.
That tutorial would be great.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll send that over to you. If you need hands-on training, we can do that. But usually people can get away with that master class. Pretty much 90% of what they got to do in Zoho Books is there. So
perfect.
Internal training and knowledge management. We will create internal SOPs. And we talked about the CUI certification training courses there, creating user manual system documentation. We'll put our how to create SOP in there. It sounds a little weird, but it makes creating SOPs so easy for you guys. I do this myself. And maybe you can do a test to it being a little easier to create an SOP when there's an SOP on how to do it. So
Yep.
it'd be really nice.
Do you guys have a template too that you use, or just the SOP of training how to create an SOP?
You have a template. The SOP is pretty much a template. We're going to put the template and the training in your Zoho Learn instance. And every time we use an SOP, we're going to do it in our format. We highly recommend you stay to our format. We've seen it applied to dozens of systems. It makes it so much easier for everybody. It's, I think, at the point of doing anything more than what we do for us is hitting diminishing returns, where for every unit of input, you're getting drastically lower effectiveness from creating them. So that will all make sense once it's in the system. It's not perfect. There are problems with it, but it is the best system we found that works for a long period of time. That's why we do it. So we will provide SOP creation template in our training methodology. We have a huge video on it too that we'll throw in there. Currently storing Linux server setup procedures and backup processes, which is great. We'll want to, some of those SOPs we'll want to convert. Future recruiting capabilities, just so you're aware, you can manage your recruiting pipeline within Zoho People and Zoho Recruit. So instead of Zoho Recruit with Zoho People, I know this isn't a current priority, but it's expected within the next year. So you mentioned, hey, as you land other contracts, it's not a huge priority now, but when it's a priority, it's a huge priority. So I just want you to know you will be able to do recruiting within Zoho as soon as it's a priority for you.
Yeah, great.
Excellent. So we've got this Zoho Learn SOP. This is actually the how to create SOP. So we just show you a little snippet of it, just to give you an idea of what we're going to put in your system. Estimated timeline in hours, see your Zoho project portal. So we're going to convert this after this meeting. We just want to make sure, hey, are we on the same page here? If so, we're going to convert everything to Zoho projects. And then the next step for you is to go into Zoho projects, and it will look like this. I'll show you a live one right now. I will show you, I think I showed you this a little bit on our last call, but you'll see there is a hours section here. So we'll just say, hey, this is everything we talked about. This is how many hours we're expecting it to take each item. And then you can go over here to client priority and say, this is a must-have. We have 3 options. It's must-have, nice to have, not interested. And then you can group it the way you want. So if you're like, this is phase 1, phase 2, you put it in the order that makes the most sense for you, because we want to move in order of your priority and impact. So once you fill that out, we can get started with the system.
Right on, man. That's cool. So you guys will be sending us an email link to this client portal.
Yes.
We'll sign in and do all that. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Right on.
I know that's a lot of information. We went over a lot today. What questions, comments, things that you guys would want to more clarity on? What can we do for you? We have a sort of
so one of the things I would like to move up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll shoot there.
I'll pull it up too, so I can.
They're all a lot. They're all really important because we're under a crunch. Let me. So the lead generation. I mean, I like that, but that's a lower priority.
Sure.
Than the project delivery and management. However, the project delivery and management, we're doing okay right now. So I'm actually wondering maybe we should put the support and help desk management up a little higher.
Sure.
Because that is part of our training environment delivery, is that we'll give them, so many hours of support as well.
No, that's
so I would say put that up even above the invoicing that you had. Yeah, above that one.
totally. You can certainly do that.
And then let's see, what was the other one? Oh yeah, I mean the training delivery, I guess, would go up there with it as well. I didn't see if you copy and pasted that with the help desk. What do you think about the invoicing and financial management side? I think that's pretty high up there. Yeah, if you put the invoicing and financial management just below the training, that would be perfect.
Totally.
Let's see. Do you want that above HR and employee management? So this is paying employees versus getting paid. I would say we need to get paid before we can pay people. So I think how you have it is a good flow.
Is there any other sections you want to shift around? We're happy to do this. This will make it easier when it gets into projects for you guys.
Internal training and knowledge management. That's a pretty high priority, but it's probably under the HR and paying people. So that one's almost near the bottom right now. Oh, and we do have tax prep. We needed to only have one highest priority.
This is where the battle strategy, right? You have infinite number of things you got to do, and you have finite resources and time. So it's trying to decide which one. We will meet every week after you approve your items. And every week you can completely shift things around. We don't encourage that, but you can. So we have clients where they'll say, yes, this is what we want. And then the next week they're like, we need to hire somebody. And we're like, great, let's reprioritize.
I would say tax prep and bookkeeping. Let's move that. Now I'm not sure. My copy's out of date now. So let's move that. Do you want it before invoicing? Because we need to get our taxing going. Yeah, let's put it just above. Yeah, right there. I think that's
Sure.
a good flow.
Excellent.
At least get our bookkeeper in there and have her start organizing some things so we're ready. I think this is the time to do it before the end of the year in case we need to make any purchases or hold off on getting deliveries. This is good. I like it. Let's go with that. And then once I see it in a Gantt chart, it's easier to see the overall view and flow.
Just so you're aware, we're probably not going to do the specific times and dates yet. Once you fill out the worksheet in Zoho Projects, we'll take it task by task. Just so you know, instead of seeing it in a Gantt, you're going to see it more like this, which is just from top to bottom what we'll work on. Just because we've noticed when we put it in a Gantt view, and we're like, it'll take 7 days. Sometimes it takes 2 days, and then it throws everything off. So we're like, okay, cool. So we will throw this into Zoho Projects. We'll send you an email and we'll say everything's uploaded. Your job is to fill out one field, which is this one. And if you don't fill it out, we'll just assume it's not a focus for you. You can put not interested, that's optional. And then we will carve out the phases from there based on your priority. You can drag these, by the way. So you'll notice this one, you can drag it, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, this is giving you guys some additional clarity on how Zoho should be built for you guys. Any feedback for us? We're always looking to improve the discovery process. What you didn't like, what's been helpful, what are things you hope could be improved in the future?
I think it's been good.
It's been good. Pretty smooth. I like that you sent us the documentation at least a day in advance. Gave me some time to look over it, read it in a little more detail. Yeah, happy that you just went top to bottom, kind of explained it, and I thought it was good, man.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, if there's any feedback as we get into development, feel free to let us know. We want to perfect this process as much as we can. We've done this over 180 times now, but we're looking to make it better every time. It's great to work with you two so far on the discovery. We're excited for development. We're going to notify you as soon as we put everything into projects. We'll go from there. All right.
The next question is, we had a meeting still scheduled for Tuesday, tomorrow. Are we still on for that time, or will you just let us know when we need to meet the next time?
Things moving, and I think this would be a good idea, is next week we'll schedule a meeting for an hour, and that would be a more of like a development kickoff call. And that's where we can essentially go over the items that we're working on. So let's just say, as far as timeline, we upload everything today into the projects. You mark what's a must-have priority, and you want us to get started this week. Next week, we can then update you on progress for development, how things are going, and then we can do a weekly meeting from there. If that's a timeline you guys are comfortable with, I can book that meeting for next week right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a time here, a slot next week. Let's do next week, Wednesday the 10th at
9 a.m. We're going to find out today or tomorrow if we're going to be in some meetings Wednesday and Tuesday.
Okay.
So if that's the case, would you have something later in the day that we could shoot for?
I'm going to move this meeting. I'm going to move something around here. I could do Monday if that works better.
Let's see.
Or does that work better?
It might in the morning, but we can't travel on Monday because we got that funeral to go to.
I could do Monday at 2:30 p.m. I don't know if that time works, but
Yeah, I think on Monday, if we're going to do that, morning would be better. We've got a funeral that starts at noon and goes till about 3.
gotcha.
So, and then we need some travel time around that. So,
Right.
I mean, 9, if you have 9 available, that would be great.
Yeah, we're booked from 8 to 1:30, unfortunately. So can't do that. We could do, might be better if we just do, play it safe, Monday the 15th, and we could do 12:30.
I do like that idea better. I'd like to get started this week if possible. And then a tag up, next week would be great.
Yeah.
And sorry, we just don't know our travel schedule yet. We're waiting for our clients to tell us whether or not we need to be there. So it may be next week or maybe the week after.
Let know what time, if you can do anytime Wednesday, a time that works for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you're like, dude, we got to cancel that meeting, just let us know.
Perfect.
Yeah, no worries. So I could do Wednesday the 10th at 9 a.m. if that works for you guys. If you guys need to do a little later, I can also do that.
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
anytime. So we usually quit about 4 p.m. Eastern,
Okay.
4:30. So if we hit like anytime after 3, if you're available, I don't know if you guys work that late.
Yeah, that's Eastern. So like,
Oh no, so 3 Mountain Time here would be
okay.
perfect for us.
Yeah, let's plan on 3 on Wednesday. That works great.
Perfect. Is that good?
It's fine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 3 o'clock, Wednesday the 10th.
Okay,
Let's shoot
perfect.
for that, and I'll definitely know if things come up and we have to cancel or push it to the next week.
Perfect. I will add you guys to that meeting real quick so you guys have it on your calendar, and that works perfect for me.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Right on.
Great to meet with you too. We're excited to get into development. We'll get everything into projects and we'll let you know.
Okay.
So-
Perfect.
Appreciate you.